What up, guys? This is Sarah. She is a new client of mine. Today we are going to be removing Sally's color and permanent color, Demi permanent color, as well as some color oops. She tried to remove some of her color at home because it went way too dark. Then it turned orange, red, and then she was like, oh shit, I need this fixed. I'm just showing you all the different angles and showing you that she has gray hair. So our objective is to use some of these inspiration pictures, I can't talk, pulling from those inspo photos to figure out what is best for Sarah. So I start out every single correction by washing the hair and clarifying it with the Malibu Undo Goo. It has a pH of 9, which is on the alkaline side. What that's going to do is rough up the cuticle and open it up. You can tell here that I am not actually scrubbing the scalp, and the reason being is I know that I'm going to be applying product to her root later on. So I'm avoiding her scalp so I don't cause any irritation for any of the product that we'll be using later on. Again, I'm going to be scrubbing her hair as thoroughly as possible, missing her root, and I'm really just fixating on the ends. And I'm roughing them up because I'm going to go in with the Malibu Cpr treatment after this. So her cuticle is nice and open. We're going to go in the CPR and let that process under heat for 45 minutes. The CPR is going to disrupt all of that pigment in her hair and remove some of that artificial dye. This is the most satisfying thing that hairdressers can experience. This is all of the artificial color, not all of it, but a lot of the artificial color that's in her hair that was trapped in her cuticle coming out of her hair. And this is Kainoa doing a double take, doing a double little record. You can see those darker bits. That is all of that pigment coming out of her hair. It was insane and it was so satisfying. I started all my corrections with this because of that reason. I want to remove as much of that buildup as possible before I go in with some sort of chemical. Now, of course, we're going to be layering K18. K18 is going to maintain the integrity of the hair and also progressively build back that keratin. This is after our wash and blow dry with K18 and Malibu. You can see how she got significantly lighter and we were able to kind of see where that color oops was. It's really important that I know where that is because it can cause some detriment down the road. So now we are using the Charcoal Light by Diffyaba. The reason why I use this is because I know the Charcoal Light is cool toning. As it is lifting, it will be neutralizing as much as that warmth as I can possibly get. And I want this because I know I'm going to be dealing with a lot of warm tones, a lot of red, a lot of orange. So I'm trying to make my life a little bit easier so I don't have to worry about those red-orange tones as much as possible. So I'm going to take some quadrant sections. I'm going to be taking the hair down the middle and then just sectioning out the front two quadrants. And then the back, I'm going to leave one big quadrant. I'm just going to take horizontal sections and I'm literally going to go up the head. I'm going to take my product and I'm going to apply it, brush it through, make sure that it is thoroughly saturated. So guys, if you haven't tried the Diffyaba Charcoal Light, I highly suggest it. I love to use it for corrections like this, again, because it is toning. And it's great for those pesky red-orange tones. I love to use this for box color or anything that you know is going to pull super duper warm. It also has a shampoo conditioner that I will be using after this that is going to neutralize even more of that warmth and that icky color as much as possible. So this is the Diffyaba processed. You can't really tell at first, but you just got to move it around and get a good visual. You can see here, look at that red and that yellow. Oh, I knew I was in for it when I saw that. Granted, this was processing only for about 30 minutes, so I let this go after the fact. But I truly believe that my results would have been way differently if I didn't use Diffyaba. I was super pleased with the result. I was really happy about how it lifted. It lifted inconsistent only because we were dealing with that color oops. You can see here how red it really was, and I knew, I was like, shit. There's no way I'm going to move forward with any sort of coloring unless I neutralize some of this warmth. So I had a wild hair up my ass and I said, we're going to use the Green Blue Rapid Toner by Kenra. The Green Blue Rapid Toner is fantastic when dealing with red-orange tones just like this. Green Blue counteracting red-orange. So I was like, all right, let's have at it. Let's throw it on there and neutralize this bad boy as much as possible. While this is a little bit sped up in real time, I was just getting it on there with my hands because it is a rapid toner. They're meant to process in under 5 minutes. You can actually see here, it's starting to process as soon as I apply the product. Again, this is fantastic when dealing with red-orange tones. If you're ever dealing with box color or any muddy red like this, I highly, 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 highly suggest using the Green Blue Rapid Toner. Pre-toning is essential when it comes to corrections or any color service like this. You want to make sure you neutralize any of that warmth before you move forward. Only reason being is you don't want that warmth to pop back through when you start applying, or when you apply your new color, or when their hair starts to fade out, etc., etc. Now, this looks a hot ass mess, I know. However, I was still really pleased with how neutralized it was. There are little bits of green in her hair, but I would rather take the green over the red. Again, you can see that it's a little bit inconsistent. This is partially because of the color groups and because of any prior applications prior to today. Might not have been fully saturated, but that is absolutely acceptable. We are here to change that. So now we are going to go in with the final color. I went in with Oligo Cool Toned Blonde mixed with 20 volume, as well as Kenra's Monochrome Collection 7N in 10 volume and the Monochrome Collection 6N in 20 volume. We're using the 6N Plus at the root. This is going to get rid of her gray, and then we're going to use a 7N Plus for her mids and ends. So the reason why I decided to use the 7 is because I didn't want it to be that dark, and I know that using the Monochrome Collection, it typically processes about a shade darker to the naked eye. The reason being, the Monochrome Collection is very densely pigmented, is more opaque, and it is designed for higher pigment loads. So I'm going in, I did her root, and then I took the 7 and I started smudging it down. Now I'm recreating highlights. So it's kind of daunting about doing this kind of stuff is you, instead of adding highlights to someone's hair, you are basically creating an entire color. But regardless, I'm taking my comb and I'm smudging it down, and I'm taking my 7N Plus at the root again, smudging that down even further. And then I'm going to do some chunkier weaves and start highlighting. I'm doing this right over top of everything, and I'm doing everything all together at once. And you guys, once you guys see the pull of how this lifted, you guys will thank me with that pre-toning tip. It's important that you move your brush from side to side and not just up and down, because you want to make sure you get into the grooves and get all of that color saturated. So now you'll see here, right after I'm done combing, I'm going to take my comb, and I'm going to do some thick weaves. This is going to mimic a balayage placement and give her some nice dimension. I'm going to paint out the top half with my Oligo Cool Tone Lightener, with my Fermar Big Papa brush, and my Big Papa foils. Big Daddy foils, my apologies. And I'm just going to put the lightener on, grab it with my foil, and start smushing and gushing. It might seem that it is inconsistent and seems kind of messy, but I promise you that it's not. Main objective is I just want to get it in there, and we will be able to tone and tweak after the fact. So you can see here, again, I'm going side by side, making sure that the product is all fully saturated in the hair, and then making sure that the ends are fully saturated as well. I'm going to take my product and start to brush it in. You'll see that I'm using the side of my brush just to gently brush it in, and then I'm going to take the side bristles of my brush and really make sure that it's fully blended. Yeah. Now for that underneath weave, I'm going to take that 7N Plus by Kenra and slap it right over it. I'm going to repeat this all the way up the head. I didn't get any video of my placement around the face, which is totally my fault. But nonetheless, this is pretty much a gist of what I did. I just highlights, lowlights. And then around the face, I made sure to foil a face frame / money piece, making sure to give her that nice bold pop around the face. Again, I'm using a comb to make sure that the hair strands are fully saturated with all of that dark product. I want to make sure that underlying pigment, that color that is underneath this is not going to be coming through. So making sure that it is fully saturated, doing the old mush and gush technique is key. Guys, you're going to be appalled when you see the pull from this lifting, okay? This is literally the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, the reason why she pulled so beautifully is because I took the time to neutralize all of that underlying pigment. Taking the time to neutralize all of that orange and all of that red and just adding some of that neutralizing factor into your canvas is key. That's exactly how I got this beautiful shade of blonde with no banding, no stretchiness. Her hair was in impeccable shape. Guys, the proof is in the pudding. Look at that freaking pull. It was literally so freaking beautiful. Now, I'm taking my bleach blender gloves by Fermar and I'm just reblending everything to make sure that it's all fully saturated and blended. I did do a second melt because I wanted to make sure to get rid of that red halo that's going to happen from where the highlight meets the permanent color of 7NA and 7B into 8GB, 8N. This is the before, and bada bing, bada boom, this is the after. She was so happy, so tickled, and just elated with her hair. Her hair was in impeccable condition. The color was literally spot on, beautiful. She was super happy about it, I was super happy about it, and I just could not believe her hair was literally black when she came in.